It would be great to have someone who could do our work for us, right? Someone to prevent us from making mistakes. Someone to assist with our routine professionally and allow us to devote our time to communicating with our closest people. If only we could get results without wasting our time for nothing. Unfortunately, it's impossible in real life. But wait, Light Forex Social Trading. Spend your time doing what really matters to you.
Good morning, 30th of May 2019, 8 AM CET. Piotr here, and this is the London pre-open live market coverage on Global Light Forex YouTube channel. Let's start with risk warning. Guys, please bear in mind trading effects on margin trading. Crypto on margin carries a high level of risk, may not be suitable for investors. You can sustain a loss of some or all your initial investment. So please do not invest the money that you cannot afford to lose. Okay. When we are talking about the scheduled meetings, it's the last one in May, right? But as I've mentioned yesterday, if in case of urgency, there might be something tomorrow around New York Open. We'll see what is going on with the flow towards the end of the month. Few interesting things going on actually. Good morning, FX Social Trading Group. Okay, let's have a look what we have from the calendar perspective in that case. There is a, to be honest with you, there is a French, German and Swiss bank holiday today. We are going, so it's the volume, the liquidity might be a little bit down during the London session, but anyway, at 9 AM CET, after our meeting, there is a Spanish flash CPI. The expectations are a bit lower, right? Than what we get last time. Last time it was 1.5. Market expectations right now 1.2, and it's definitely it's worth to watch. As it's a London Open, it might be the euro direction. That might be the euro direction. Then nothing extraordinary for the rest European hours, and then after the New York Open, key 2:30. US preliminary GDP quarter to quarter 3.1. That's what market is expecting right now, previous 3.2. At 4 PM CET we are going to get the housing data from US, and because of the bank holiday in US last Monday, right, some data were postponed as usual, right? So we are gonna to get crude oil inventories today and at 5 PM CET, all right? So it's worth to remember. During next Tokyo session, there is a good data package from the Japan, and we are going to get the Tokyo CPI, unemployment rate, preliminary industrial production, as well as retail sales. There is also PMI out of China during the next Tokyo session. And tomorrow in Europe, German retail sales, German preliminary CPI. Over the course of the day, we are during the morning hours, I mean during the London hours, we are going to get the data from each land, and then total report around the New York Open. And tomorrow we are going to have a cut Canadian GDP, cut GDP, as well as US personal spending, personal income, Chicago PMI, and revised University of Michigan. So end of the month flow plus plenty of data around. So that's gonna be interesting. Hopefully the volatility will pick up a bit. So we are done with the calendar. Now, what is going on during the Tokyo session? PBOC injects 30 billion yuan via open market operations, but anyway, 15 or 20 minutes ago when I checked last time, the Chinese index T-Next extended drop to 2%. If we are talking about the China, it's worth to mention that Huawei Spain says sales of devices fall as much as 30%, and it's the info is via Cinco. So let's stay with info China related, but let's switch to the chart this time and let's discuss Chinese yuan, right? So let's have a look. First, let's have a look what we have from higher time frame. Let's have a look where we are from the monthly perspective. All right, just 1 second. Let me put a few things like this. Quick cleaning, right? All right, so strong dollar rally versus Chinese yuan this month, and looks like it might be all about 695, 696. That's what we discussed. From the monthly perspective, it's 697, 698, and if we are gonna to see the stop hand over here, right, that looks, yeah, let me show you what I'm talking about. That looks like cap and handle. Ooh, I'm not sure if I have enough scale over here, but it might be through the roof. Another 10% weakness. I don't know what should I think about that, but of course that's the monthly chart. A lot of things going on. It's a bullish price action right now. The only thing I would change the view would be the month. We have 2 days left, right? Would be the close below the breakout point, below the 680, 650, and most probably it's not going to happen. Never say never, but most probably it's not going to happen. So yeah, we'll see. But the June should be very interesting, and we've got the big probability of the Xi-Trump meeting, right? Well, that's gonna be very interesting. And in case of the break of 7, right, the things may speed it up in terms of the risk of eventually, at least at the very beginning, right? Then with all the stimulus are already inside the Chinese economy, the leverage with the weaker Chinese yuan, the economy may rise, and former PBOC member said that the double-digit growth, back to the double-digit growth is possible. Well, we'll see. So it might be the shock at the very beginning, and then it should stabilize and should help to grow Chinese economy. So that's some kind of the trying to offset this trade war right now with US. We'll see. We'll see. That's how it looks from the monthly perspective. From the lower time frame perspective, so I do expect shock in case of the breakout to the upside. I do expect some kind of the shock, right? Some turbulence, a little bit of the risk off at the very beginning, but then it should stabilize a bit. Anyway, let's switch lower. Weekly. And weekly, we almost ready, and it's gonna be over today, tomorrow, of course, but we are almost ready to try to attack, right? Strong rally, based, and time for continuation. Well, we'll see. What about possible support from a weekly? Somewhere around 692. That's what was tested last week, and we're trying to go higher from here. And this cap and handle is also well visible, so it's worth to watch. And it might be the case with the rising channel. Let's have a look what we have here. Yeah, it might be the case with rising channel like this. So the next stop should be something around 727, 730. So another 4% weakness. Yeah, after this type of the breakout to the upside, that might be the case. The thing is how the Chinese PBOC guys will react into that. Anyway, let's switch lower to the daily, and we had a rally over the course of the first part of this week. Okay, now from the daily, that might be some sign that, yeah, that might be some case that the intervention was in. So upper shadow. The thing is how we are going to behave over the course of the day, today and tomorrow. All right. Then the hourly is showing sign of the weakness. All right. So we hold the yellow possible demand. We rally back from that yellow possible demand. All right. There was a trend line. I took two latest swings, and the line being broken during the Asian hours. There was rally back and rejection, right? Well, we'll see. There is a still few ticks to the downside towards 692 if we are talking about the weekly level. All right, that's how it looks from the yuan perspective. If that's gonna continue, it might turn positive from short term from the risk perspective. All right, that's how I see the things here from the risk perspective. Anyway, yeah, quite big discussion about the Chinese yuan. Let's have a look what is going on the options market. Then we will switch to the dollar index and we'll check the rest. 10 a.m. New York cut. What is going on? Not much, to be honest with you. At 111 on euro dollar, 600 million, 112, 700 million. So we've got the range in between 111, 112. All right. Dollar yen here is much better. 109, 1.5 billion, and 109.75, 1.4. So we've got this 75 pips range. So as you can see here, we just tested and rejected during the first attempt. So looks like there is some kind of the defense of that level. 109.75, just reminder, 1.4 billion. We'll see. Don't forget about this US data later today. Next, 127 from the pound perspective, we do have 800 million, and 126, 646 million. So we have a range in between 26, 27, and with in regards to the pound, I wouldn't be surprised we are going to see the round like, you know, we are going to revisit 26 and rally back to 27, or first we are going to see the rally towards 127 and then get back ahead of the option expiration closer to 126. All right, that's the option market. Let's talk about the charts. So let's switch and check how it's going with the dollar index at the very beginning. There you go. So we spoke last 2-3 days a lot about current levels. All right, there was another dollar rally yesterday. So bulls are trying hard to push higher towards the end of the month, right? Just to explain one thing we discussed yesterday. Whoops. Where we are and what we might see. We are testing the open level from November 2016, right? And then we saw after the election, first it was the dollar weakness, then strong dollar rally after the election, right? After the breakdown, that's the first attempt. We have from the monthly perspective, we have supply higher towards 100, right? But we are testing these levels right now. And last month it was rejected. Now the question is where we are going to get the monthly close. Now, going back to the daily. Going back to the daily, all right. We had strong close, but compared to what we've seen from the price action perspective, that wasn't the highest close. The highest close was here on the 25th of April, as far as I can recognize. Okay, let's confirm it. Yeah, as you can see, or equal close. So it wasn't the highest close, right? Anyway, first hour of Frankfurt trading, where, as I mentioned, there is a German bank holiday. We're trying to push it a little bit higher. The question is about the liquidity here. We'll see. Anyway, going lower to 1 hour chart, what we have here, right? That's this price action over here, right? That's what we have here. Now, taking this one into the consideration, right? That's where we stopped yesterday. So I do expect maybe some kind of the stop count above yesterday high, and it's worth to watch the price action over here in case of the rejection. You know the drill, right? Otherwise it might be like few more pips, few more pips, few more pips, few more pips, and stop count here. The USGDP might be the good excuse, right? And especially when we are going to check Nasdaq, for example, and on the Nasdaq we are on a verge on the huge breakdown. I wouldn't be surprised that we are going to see better number, you know. Invisible hands, invisible market hands. That's the thing. So very interesting level from the dollar perspective, right? So let's switch to the platform and let's have a look and check the particular currency pairs. Okay, let's start with dollar yen this time. Let's start and let's have a look where we are from the monthly perspective. All right, we are testing the range from January 2019, right? So there was a huge sell-off, then February brought the break above the yearly open. So all in all, we are around yearly open, right? We spent 3 months, and the May right now is a month number 4. Am I right? Yeah, because the January was below 1, 2, 3, and number 4. So that's where the fight is going on between bulls and bears. 109.65. So in that case, you got your answer why at particularly at 109.75 we've got this option expiration, right? So yearly open, here is the key. All right, let's switch to weekly. And we are retesting the levels, the recovery levels after this after this very beginning of the January, 3rd of January, huge sell-off, right? So that was the recovery. We are retesting this recovery right now, right? To be honest with you, I've been thinking that the range we've seen 2 weeks ago and the low over here, market may want to try to hit some stops because it was like some kind of the invitation with this pin bar, right? Same thing happened yesterday on euro dollar or pound. We discussed it. Anyway, that's how it looks from the weekly perspective. From the daily, again, we hold the demand, nice rally back towards supply, again rejection. So the range is created, right? So for now, I would say trading the range is the name of the game, right? In case of positive breakout to the upside, move back above 110.50-70, we might see rally back towards 112 and again higher towards 115. Okay, in case of the breakdown here through 109, I would say that we might see 107.60 even. We are talking about the closing and opening here from the very beginning of the year. Also, it's gonna be negative because we are going to be below yearly open. So next 2 days, very interesting from the perspective of the end of the month flow. Intraday, I think that GTP might be good excuse to try to push it either higher or lower in case of how to call it, I'm sorry, in case of the difference between the current number and what was the market expectations. All right, so in case we are going to see the beat, it might be the rally here, and in case of the miss, it might be attempt to break lower through 109, I think. It might be also the dollar related. In case of the miss, we might see some profit taking ahead of the end of the month, right? That might be the case. Intraday, good thing is that we are trying to test if we can agree that's the range. All right. So we hit few stops to the upside. All right. Now the question is, what next? If we are going to see the pullback, the Tokyo low might be under pressure, and we might see the deeper pullback to hit the stops here, down towards 109.40, for example, right? Don't forget about this option expiration. So I wouldn't be surprised, same like on the pound, we are going to see the round in between 109.75, 109. So if we are talking about the pound, there are two forces over here, right? Brexit related, in terms of no deal, weaker pound, and the second is the force related to the eventually Bank of England hike, right? From the monthly perspective, it's all about where we are right now, right? So the yearly open 27.48, so 27.50 is a key, and we are well below this level currently, but we are testing the zone over here to the left from where we saw the rally, right? So we might bounce here eventually. Now, what is needed from the bulls perspective is to try to close the month above 27.50. Is it possible? Never say never, but in case of the monthly close below, the whole May will be very, very negative. That's gonna be the biggest mover over the course of this year in terms of the bodies, in terms of the with the shadows. The January, there was the biggest volatility over here, right? So really worth to watch pound here. Now, from the weekly perspective, right? This is the here from the weekly perspective. Just 1 second. I have to clean this pound chart. From the weekly perspective, that's the huge demand zone, and we are almost, that's what happened last week. We testing 50% of this possible demand zone over here, right? It should be blue in relation to the weekly. There you go, right? So the base for bulls is here. Now the thing is, if bulls got enough money to push the prices higher, right? So very interesting situation on the pound here. On a daily, the swing low been created, right? And it was really good swing low. The bulls failed, and failed where we failed at the very beginning of this week. On Monday during the bank holiday day, there was a gap higher, retest of the what? Yearly open, rejection, right? Now the question is, we are trading on a daily against this swing low. To the upside, we are trading against the yearly open. All right, so both sides got their arguments in hands right now. From intraday perspective, it's going to be better visible on 15-minute chart. There was attempt to rally rejected towards the London fixing yesterday, right? That's what we were discussing and what I've been talking about, that we might see few rounds and it was almost like this. Now, there was a supply based on 2630. Once we fall through that level, there was a few attempts towards the end of the US session, fail, Tokyo session, failure, and towards the end of the Tokyo session, we broke through. What I don't like here is this attempt to make another break with rejection, and we are going back below this 2630, right? Don't forget 26 some options expiration, so it might be some attempt to hit few more stops. But again, as I mentioned yesterday, I wouldn't be surprised we are going to see the round higher towards 27, when there is a good chunk. In terms of the pound, is really good chunk of the option expiration. Also, that's how I see the things from the 15-minute charts, the shortest, the latest few hours. Downward channel, right? We can even extend the line over here. So that was the failure, that was the third attempt from this shortest time perspective. We might see this thing to break to the upside, but bulls need to take out Monday low. This I still like the pound, so anyway, weak monthly close. All right, and probably I'm going to turn neutral, not bearish, but neutral in pound, especially if we are going to close the May below the yearly open. Then euro dollar. Here we go. Lower and lower every day. Here cleaning is needed as well. Anyway, from the monthly perspective, all right. We saw the breakout in June 2017, right? Yeah, 2 years later, we are testing the bottom of this breakout point. Now the low was 1118. We were testing levels a little bit lower. We'll see where we are going to close. So it's also very interesting to watch price action from the euro dollar perspective, especially that we were discussing from the weekly perspective. The range happened 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks ago. There was an attempt to break lower, rejected last week. There was an attempt to go higher, rejected. In case of the breakdown, there is a weekly demand zone. In case of the breakout, I think 1350 might be the case. No fireworks, to be honest with you. Now, that's interesting from the daily perspective. We broke through again yesterday. We broke through post non-farm payrolls low, right? So it might be over under based on the price action from 25th of April and 26th of April and 23rd of May, right? So retest of 1117. So again, 2017 June low, retest over here cannot be ruled out. All right. Okay, from the intraday perspective, we are testing this huge demand. We might try to switch to 15-minute chart and to find the better levels. Okay, And to be honest with you, it's hard to find better levels, but let's leave it as it is, and let's place the line somewhere here. The one thing, okay, and here as a 15%, almost 15% of the zone. So yeah, 11.20, 11.17, and that's what should be watched today. So that's how the things looks like on the euro dollar, but euro overall is under pressure, and euro is under pressure. That's what we discussed yesterday. So you have to get back to the archive because time is running. We are running out of the time. So we discussed it in full, euro pound and what might happen here, right? Again, right now we are testing the supply, right? So one can argue that as long as we are below, supply will try to push it lower. Then 87.90 might be the key. That's what we discussed, this something like double bottom. In case you are a bull, you may want to wait for a breakout, right? And continuation higher. So very interesting on euro. Right now, euro might be under pressure from the pound perspective, and euro is under pressure from the yen perspective. But in case of risk on sentiment, right? It's very interesting where we are. And I'm not going to, okay, we can check where we are on the monthly. All right, there is an attempt to break lower through the low from the April, and the low from the April is 124.10, 124.10, right? So bulls need to get back 150 pips. All right, now is it possible? Never say never, because from the weekly perspective it looks a little bit better. We are testing the broken low, and it's very well visible from intraday chart perspective. All right, so what I'm trying to tell you is that there was a breakdown 2 days ago, continuation yesterday. That's what we discussed. Now it's a rally back, and it's all about the bottom of that range. That's the broken range, right? So for now it's a retest, and what I'm looking for here, right, is this retest is too ideal, right? So what I'm looking for is to break higher and rejection. That's the first thing first, right? Because there was a breakdown, retest, and should be continuation. But if we are going to see strong rally here with move back above 22.35, all right, that might be the case of trying to switch to buying pullbacks, because the move to the downside happened yesterday and day before. It might be treated as a false break. All right, in that case we might get back towards the upper or top of the broken range. All right, so I'm going to watch carefully what is going on here. It might be very, very interesting, especially if we are going to take into the consideration where we are on euro dollar and dollar yen. Okay, so the last one, Nasdaq. That's how it looks from the monthly perspective. Ugly. 7,386 is a minimum what is needed for bulls to keep that latest rally alive, in my opinion, right? Otherwise, nice monthly engulf, neckline on a broken neckline on a smaller time frame, and possibility of move lower. All right. We might see a little bit lower levels based on the December price action, because it might be treated here with this V formation, might be treated as a buying zone, but in that case it's so wide we might see attempt to move lower, and we were discussing levels below 6,900 if you remember. Now from the weekly perspective, we are testing, and we are discussing this, we are testing this Riley base continuation new high, right? So there is a pullback and we are testing demand. It might be some kind of the consolidation, right? So watch out from the daily perspective what's going to happen, because from daily perspective there is a breakdown. There is already breakdown. So we started to do this head and shoulders formation, right? But it might be just false breakdown. It might be the invitation for the sellers, and we might see the squeeze. So what I'm going to look for today, I'm going to look for a price action after the USGDP and after the cash open. Because remember, there are 2 days, and we are talking about the 150 points, so 2% here. Here we have to close above this tomorrow, not today, tomorrow, the latest, for bulls to keep the rally alive. Taking into consideration window dressing, invisible market hands, end of the month flow, you have to answer yourself, all right? If it's possible or no. So if you remember, if you were live with me yesterday during the US cash open, we were discussing the possibility of the breakdown and how we are going to behave, and the dip was a little bit deeper than what we discussed, but still when you were watching and you were reacting to what is going on, there was a possibility to try to join the party towards the end of the session and to grab few points on the long side, right? Now from the intraday perspective, this price action to the downside was the key. So if you are just breakout trader, that's the zone for you today to watch. And from the daily perspective, we are talking about this zone over here and trying to get back above first, and then 7,686, 700, 400. That's gonna be the case, and 7,700 as a short squeeze within the next weeks and months possible. All right, guys, it was my pleasure to meet with you, and I'm looking forward for another meetings, but this time in June, right? Have a great Thursday, have a great Friday, have a great weekend, and in case of urgency, there might be something tomorrow around the US Open. Otherwise, our next meeting, 3rd of June, 8 AM CET, pre-London Open. You are more than welcome to join me. That's it today. Have a good one. Take care. See you around.